What if I told you the greatest quarterback of all time, a living legend, almost never stepped onto an NFL field? It sounds impossible, right? But the story of Tom Brady isn't one of instant stardom. It's a masterclass in resilience, a tale of how the ultimate underdog became the undisputed GOAT. And it all started with one of the most overlooked moments in sports history. Picture this: the year 2000, the NFL draft, team after team, pick after pick, the name Tom Brady is never called. 198 players are chosen before him. Quarterbacks with more hype, better combined stats, and more impressive college reels are all taken off the board. Brady, a skinny kid from Michigan, just sat there waiting. He was considered too slow, with a less than powerful arm. Scouts saw him as a career backup at best, a decent college player who just didn't have what it takes to succeed at the professional level. When the New England Patriots finally selected him with the 199th pick, it was almost an afterthought. He was their fourth-string quarterback, a developmental project, a long shot. The Patriots already had a franchise quarterback in Drew Bledsoe, who had just signed a record-breaking contract. Brady was insurance, nothing more. So why did everyone get it so wrong? Why did 31 other teams, and even the Patriots to some extent, completely underestimate the man who would come to define the sport for 2 decades? It wasn't just about his physical attributes, though his scouting report was famously unflattering. It highlighted his poor build, lacks mobility, and can't drive the ball downfield. On paper, he was thoroughly unimpressive. But what those scouting reports couldn't measure was the fire burning inside him. They couldn't quantify his obsessive work ethic, his relentless competitiveness, and his unshakable belief in himself even when no one else believed in him. This is where the story takes a legendary turn. Brady didn't just show up to practice. He arrived with a mission, treated every single rep, even in training camp, as a fourth stringer, like it was the Super Bowl. He outworked everyone, stayed late to study film, poring over plays until he knew the playbook better than the coaches. He was the first one in the weight room and the last one to leave the field. He famously told Patriots owner Robert Kraft after being drafted, "I'm the best decision this organization has ever made." It sounded arrogant, almost delusional, coming from a 6th-round pick who was on the verge of being cut. But it wasn't arrogance. It was a promise to himself. His rookie year was spent holding a clipboard, watching from the sidelines. He threw only 3 passes the entire season. Most players in his position would have been discouraged, maybe even accepted their fate as a career backup. But Brady used that time to learn, to absorb everything he could from Bledsoe and the coaching staff. He was preparing for an opportunity he had no reason to believe would ever come. Then, in the second game of the 2001 season, fate intervened. Drew Bledsoe took a brutal hit and was sidelined with a serious injury. Suddenly, the forgotten 6th-round pick was thrust into the spotlight. The entire season, the hopes of a franchise rested on the shoulders of this unknown kid. No one expected much. The goal was simply to survive the season. But Brady didn't just survive. He thrived. He wasn't flashy. He didn't have the rocket arm of some of his peers. But he was smart, he was efficient, and he was a leader. He made the right decisions under pressure, he inspired confidence in his teammates, and he just found ways to win. That season, against all odds, he led the Patriots on an improbable run all the way to the Super Bowl. Their opponent, the heavily favored St. Louis Rams, known as the greatest show on turf, an offensive juggernaut, it was David versus Goliath. We all know how that story ends. With time ticking down, Brady coolly led his team down the field, setting up a game-winning field goal as time expired. The underdog had done the impossible. But one Super Bowl could have been a fluke, right? A magical season, a Cinderella story. Many people still weren't convinced. They thought it was the Patriots' defense, or the coaching of Bill Belichick. They still saw Brady as a system quarterback, a game manager who got lucky. So what did he do? He went back to work, and he kept winning and winning. He won another Super Bowl 2 years later, and another the year after that. Suddenly, the game manager was a 3-time champion, but the doubts lingered. Then came the 2007 season, where he shattered records, throwing for 50 touchdowns and leading the Patriots to a perfect 16-0 regular season, proving he was far more than just a system quarterback. He was an elite, dominant force. Over the next decade, the story continued. He faced new rivals, new challenges, and new generations of players. He overcame injuries, controversies, and the natural decline that comes with age. Most quarterbacks are retired by their late 30s. Brady played and played at an MVP level, well into his 40s. He won 3 more Super Bowls with the Patriots, including the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history against the Atlanta Falcons. And just when you thought the story was over, he did the unthinkable. At age 43, he left the dynasty he built in New England and joined the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a team that hadn't been to the playoffs in over a decade. People said he was finished, that he couldn't win without Belichick and the Patriot way. What happened? His very first season, he led them to a Super Bowl victory, earning his 7th ring, more than any single NFL franchise. The kid who was the 199th pick, the 4th-string quarterback nobody wanted, the player who was almost cut before his career even began, had unequivocally proven himself to be the greatest of all time. So, let's go back to that initial question. Why did everyone underestimate him? Because they were measuring the wrong things. They measured his 40-yard dash time, not his processing speed under pressure. They measured his arm strength, not the strength of his character. They saw a lanky kid, not a future leader, who would inspire grown men to run through walls for him. The ultimate twist in Tom Brady's story isn't that he won 7 Super Bowls. It's how he did it. He turned every doubt, every criticism, every single one of the 198 names called before his into fuel. His entire career was a response to that draft day slight. He proved that talent is only part of the equation. It's the mindset that separates the good from the great and the great from the legendary. The obsession with improvement, the discipline to do the work when no one is watching, and the unwavering belief in your own potential, that is the secret sauce. Tom Brady's journey teaches us a powerful lesson that goes far beyond the football field. It shows us that where you start doesn't have to determine where you finish. The opinions of others do not define your reality. Your destiny isn't written by scouts or critics. It's written by your actions, your dedication, and your will to succeed. So the next time you feel overlooked or underestimated, remember the story of the 199th pick. Remember that the greatest victories often come from the most unlikely beginnings. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as inspiring as I do, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content that dives deep into the stories behind the legends. Let me know in the comments what part of Brady's career impresses you the most. See you in the next one.